Robert Plank Show, episode 140. Find fulfillment from invisible to influence with conscious warrior and freedompreneur Nick Pereira. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Robert Plank Show. Our guest today is Nick Pereira. Now, Coach Nick has been an entrepreneur for over a decade, and as an author, trainer, founder, and the president of the Freedompreneurs Club, Nick has helped thousands of small business owners become freedompreneurs. So what's up, Coach Nick? How are things today?
Fantastic, Robert. Just an awesome day. Just got back from the gym, so I'm feeling good.
Awesome, feeling pumped and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm just coming in for a walk myself, so not quite the same thing, but same idea, right? Reset and all that stuff.
Yes.
So cool. So could you tell us about who are you, what you do, and what makes you special?
Yeah, sure. Wow, those are loaded questions. As far as what I do, I help entrepreneurs become freedompreneurs, which simply means helping entrepreneurs create their business in such a way where they can work when they want, where they want, wherever they want, whenever they want, with whoever they want, doing the things they love to do. And as I know, and any entrepreneur knows, that if you're building a business, there's parts of that business that bring us so much joy or that are expressions of our joy. And then there's parts of the business that don't bring us joy. And I help entrepreneurs create their business in a systematic way to allow freedom. Now, as far as what makes me special, um, I don't really know the answer to that, but I think the best people to ask are the people that work with me. And one thing that I would say that the Freedompreneurs Club has done, what I think is special and what I think is very well, is we have created a real community. We've created people. So when I'm working with people, I don't put people on contracts. I don't make anybody give me time commitments. That's one of the things, I guess, that's special is many coaches and trainers will ask for a specific time commitment. I don't ask for time commitments. I simply ask for value. If I'm providing you value and you're getting value, you're going to stick around. It's as simple as that. And I'm about to celebrate 3-year anniversaries with certain people inside the Freedompreneur Club, and we have tons more that have already celebrated 1 year and 2-year anniversaries. So I think what's special about what we're creating is people are sticking around, but they don't have to. There's no contract. There's nothing that says they have to. So we're truly creating a community of people that want to be there. And I think that's what makes the Freedompreneur Club really special.
Awesome. So, I mean, kind of along what we're talking about, and as far as you said that you're all about like the whole package, I guess, right? Like not just the business part of it, but also like people having the lifestyle they want, live where they want, and all that good stuff. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on like, I guess, because there's two extremes on the spectrum, right? Like on one extreme, you and I have both probably been to events where people talk about lifestyle and time management, and then the focus is on just taking time off, which I guess is okay. But a lot of these people, they just say like, oh, I just took 2 weeks off, 3 weeks off, and I think, well, great, but what did you do for your business? And then the other extreme is like the Gary V and the Grant Cardone kind of stuff, which is like love what you do and hustle and do all this work and stuff. But then at the same time, I look at that side of the spectrum, and I'm just thinking, that's way too much. So I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Like I guess like the slacker side of things versus the workaholic side of things.
Yeah. I hear you with that, and there is a lot of messages. I guess my thoughts are you got to find what works for you. What I have found that works for me is having a nice balance between what I'm doing, what I love to do, and incorporating other things into my life. Now, I guess here's the big distinction. I don't see a difference between my business life and I just see life as life. So for me, there is no distinction between am I working or am I playing. I love what we're doing right here, connecting, chatting. I could do this all day long. So am I working right now or am I playing? I don't really know. I'm just living my life, and what my life has become purposefully and consciously is just an expression of the things that I enjoy. So I've learned to incorporate well-being into the Freedompreneurs Club, entrepreneurship into the Freedompreneurs Club, spirituality into the Freedompreneurs Club. And the Freedompreneurs Club is truly an expression of just the different aspects of who I am. and I've learned to do it in a way that's all encompassing. So I don't know where I sit on that spectrum other than live life in such a way where life pays you for being you.
Interesting. But how do you go like how do you go down that path, and how do you kind of live the life that's meant for you without kind of going in a directionless sort of way?
Yeah, well, I think you're gonna find a balance. Look, I've been the Gary V type, hustle, hustle, hustle. You know, get up morning till night. And what I found is that I burned out. Um, because I wasn't doing it in the space of enjoyment. So I have nothing. I could spend the entire day. My day yesterday was a day like that. I mean, from wake up to sleep, I was working and I was engaged in the Freedompreneur Club and activities in the Freedompreneurs Club. Um, so I worked really hard yesterday. Today I'm doing this interview. I've got a few calls this afternoon, and then tonight I'm hanging out with family. So it's just finding a flow that works for you, and that I believe is going to work differently for everybody. I also believe that you start small and you grow, meaning even with Gary Vee, I don't know him personally, and I know his story just a little bit, but he didn't start off as who he is today. He started off with winelibrary.com, I believe, and he started it off as an internet thing. And he said, I believe I was listening to something, and he said for 2, 3 years or however long time, I don't want to, don't quote me on any of this, it's his life, but he spent just building his brand on social media and building the winelibrary.com. And, I think now, 10 years, 20 years, whatever it's been for him, he's now at that, he's evolved where he can get up because he's so well trained and oiled. And I think that we should not lose sight. It's easy to watch someone from stage, and I've met a lot of successful people who, have spoken to thousands upon thousands of people. And it's easy to look at them and say, wow, they get up from morning until night. They're just in that flow. But what we don't see is that they've spent 30 years getting to that point. And they didn't start that way. Many of them started off part-time jobs, doing it on weekends, squeezing it on their lunchtime. So they definitely had a work ethic that was more than the average individual for sure. But from my experience and my interactions and associations, meeting tremendously successful people, no one started that way.
I mean, I agree with that, and I think that the people that I've talked to too had all those ups and downs and ups and downs, and they kind of had to they had to like put in however many hours or however many weeks in a row just to get past all that stuff.
That's right. If Malcolm Gladwell, I believe it's his book, the Tipping Point or Outliers. I'm not sure which one. Both of them are fantastic books. He talks about this idea of 10,000 hours, right? To master anything, or to become a master at anything, is you have to spend 10,000 hours. And if you broke down 10,000 hours into a 5-day work week, 8 hours a week, that's 5 years, and then you're hitting about that 10,000 hours. So in entrepreneurship, there's that 5-year hump, is if you make it past the 5 years, you've got something. So I think that anybody listening to this, wherever you're at in the journey, especially if you're more at the beginning stage of the journey, just remember that there's no such thing as overnight success. Overnight success is 5 to 10 years minimum. And I think that we forget that. And also remember that everybody starts at different points and under different circumstances and situations. Where I started my journey and where you started your journey is two different places. So for us to say that there is one singular way of being in a business that creates success, I think that's very limiting. I think a more realistic way to look at this is to say you as an individual must find the path for you. You must find what is success to you. Gary Vee's life is from his videos seems awesome, but that's not my path. That's not success for me. Success for
Right.
me is much different than what he's saying. Now, I like Gary Vee. I'm not saying, and I listen, and I take the lessons and the business lessons, and I apply them to my business and to my life, but I also have enough wisdom, and everybody should have enough wisdom for their own selves to decide for themselves what is success for you. And that's freedompreneurship. That's what we're talking about inside the Freedompreneur Club, is we as a club don't define success for you. You come to the club and say this is what success, and then we say great, let's support you to get that.
Nice. I mean, I like that. Everyone has their own path, and I agree with that about a trillion percent. So, I mean, like right now, at your point in life, like, you have a lot of stuff figured out, you have it together, but was it always that way, or did you have a starting point? Did you have like a point where things got so bad, something had to change? Like, what's the journey been for you?
Oh my goodness. Most of my life has been rough. Not really. Like
Nice.
I say that, but I laugh because I'm like, not really. Look, I come from a great family. I come from, I'm very blessed to come from, loving parents and a great family, and I lived in a safe neighborhood. So many of life's challenges that are presented to other people, I didn't have that, but I had my own challenges, and for sure, there's times. Look, in the entrepreneurial journey, I dove head first. I didn't start part time. I quit my job and I said I'm going to do this without really even having a business, right? So I did it that way, which caused tremendous amounts of pain and suffering, because there was, myself and Sarah, which is my girlfriend for 7 years now. She's been through with me through the whole journey. We've times where we didn't eat, or it was 99 cents noodles. I remember the first time we bought a $10 meal, it was a big deal, right? It was like, wow, this,
Right.
we're living it up, right? So absolutely, everybody has a story, everybody has struggles, and that's another thing that I really want to share with people is that, we look at all, whether it's Gary V, Tony Robbins, whoever it is, we look at these successful people and we think, oh wow, that's so nice, but we don't know them personally. I don't know Gary V personally. I don't it's Look, I shoot videos too, right? I don't know what his life is actually like. I know what he's telling us his life is like, and I know that I can tell that he obviously is very knowledgeable, has tremendous amounts of material success, and has reached certain, insights, and I think we can all learn from that. But I also don't know him personally, so I make no judgment of whether his life is successful or not. I just simply listen to the information. And same thing for me, listen to the information. Yes, I've had tremendous amounts of struggles and pains and failures of businesses. Most of my businesses haven't been successful. And it's only in the last 3 to 4 years, and I would even say in the last year and a half, that we've really hit a stride that has created a lot of success, and that's growing, and it's fabulous the way it's growing. But it doesn't mean that I don't wake up every morning like everybody else with some a little anxiety about this or little worry about that. But over time, what I'm noticing is that those anxieties, it's a process. Over time, those anxieties, those worries, those doubts are being replaced by that faith, that optimism, and that realistic thinking, or that what I call clarity. So I'm not positive, not negative, but just clarity. This is what it is. And once we can discover that this is what it is, then we as individuals become much more equipped to navigate through the world. And I think that should be everybody's main focus. My main focus isn't building a big business. It's creating my own well-being and becoming better me, a better version of me. And I say better version, no different than a seed blossoming into a flower. Well, a seed has all the potential of being that flower, but it needs to be nurtured. It needs to be put into the good environments. It needs to have the right amount of sunlight and the right amount of water. So that's what the Freedompreneur Club, that's what we are. We're the right food, the right water, the right nutrients, the right associations to allow whatever is meant to come out of you to blossom. And that can take 5 years, that could take 10 years, that could take a lifetime, depending on your belief systems. It could take multiple lifetimes. And with that knowledge, there is no destination, there is no success, there is simply growth. Am I expanding or am I contracting? And as long as I'm expanding, then things are going well. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I mean it does. I mean it's like all this like really deep stuff. It's almost like I'm talking to the Buddha about like enlightenment or something. But so I mean with all that and stuff, I mean would you say that what's I mean, is there any like any one thing that's helped you the most? Is it a matter of just like the consistent daily action like you're talking about, or is it the right mindset or tools or there's community? Would you say is it one thing that's helped, or is it a collection of small things?
Definitely a collection of small things. It's a process. So, with there has been moments of transformation. So whether that's, I've done many seminars, courses, I've gone to many healers, I've spoke to many different mentors and coaches, and so all of them have added into my life. And just like coaches and mentors, just like what you're doing with this show, you're adding into people's lives. And I've listened to tons of podcasts and things like this as well, and all of it is compounded into a thought process, with moments of transformation. But don't strive for those moments of transformation. Those moments of transformation happen when the timing and the environment are right. We don't know when they're going to happen. You talk about the Buddha. The Buddha didn't know when enlightenment was going to happen for him. It was just he put in the work. If you know the story of the Buddha, Siddhartha, he put in 11 years of living as an ascetic, studying from spiritual masters, living as a yogi, doing all of these sort of extreme sort of practices to find enlightenment, and still couldn't find it. And it was only when he sat under the Bodhi tree and he surrendered to the moment and said, "I'm not leaving here until I know the truth," did he then receive his enlightenment. And I say he received it because he himself didn't cultivate it. He put in the work, and then it was the right time, the right energies, the right situation where he could then pop. No different than, again, I'll use the example of a mango tree. So a mango tree is growing, and if you didn't know it was a mango tree, you would just see a tree. And if you took some bark from that mango tree and tried to bite it, you would be like, "Ugh, this is nasty. This is bitter." But what you don't see is inside that mango tree is striving. It's putting in the work. It's getting the nutrients from its environment. And it doesn't blossom in the winter because it's not the right time. But the right time comes along in the spring, and all of a sudden, there you go. You have mangoes, and you have sweetness, and you have beauty, and you have all of this. So that was a process. So nothing just happens. Everything is a process. And I think that the more that an individual understands that, the more they can be free in their life, because they don't put this unrealistic expectations on themselves about, what's going to happen tomorrow, or I got to make something happen today. Don't make anything happen today. Just simply cultivate yourself as such a way where making things happen becomes easy for you.
I like your way of looking at it, especially because I mean, like the conversation we've been kind of having as far as like, should I be like working super hard or just relax and let it happen? And I remember like when I first got started, I was thinking like, okay, like what's the line graph going to look like, right? I was thinking like, is it going to be like shoot straight up, like win the lottery almost, or is it going to be like this like slow rise? And it seemed like for me, and at least, and I think for you, and I think a lot of people, it seemed like it was just a matter of like these like milestones, right? Like we had those first couple of tough years, and then but then the light at the end of the tunnel was that it's not always going to be that way, right? You put in the time there, and then the way that you've been kind of relating this to your group and the stuff with the tree and stuff, it's almost like, well, most of it is out of your control, but and these things like will happen to you, but you have to be almost like ready to accept it, right? Because it's not just like, okay, well, if my business is going to take 5 years to take off, I'm not just going to wait 5 years. I'm going to be working my tail off 5 years so that when that opportunity comes along, or that joint venture, or the stars align, or I get the traffic figured out, or that good launch, then now I'm prepared for it, I guess. Is that right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, even think about what we're doing right now. If we were born 50 years ago or 100 years ago, the timing for us to do this, we would find different means and different paths. But the timing, you see, the environment has allowed certain new expansions to happen with the rise of the internet. Everybody has their own media channel. Everybody can have a voice. Everybody can share share their expression much easier than it was 100 years ago. So that's what I mean by the timing of it, is that the world is shifting, and right now the world is shifting in such a dramatic way, in such a fast way, that it's almost impossible to predict what it's going to be like in 5 years. So I don't know what the world is going to be like in 5 years. I don't know what the Freedompreneurs Club is going to be like in 5 years. But what I do know is what I'm going to be like. That's all I have control over. What am I going to be like in 5 years? Well, I know that I'm going to be joyous, happy, peaceful, and abundant. Why? Because that's the commitments I've made to myself. And that's all I work on, is the commitments that I've made to myself. And those commitments then have a natural result to it. So if you're thinking, oh man, how much, like, if it's like, how many hours do I got to put in? Don't count the hours. If I counted the hours, I probably would, maybe be depressed. I'm not saying I don't work hard. I want to make it very clear to everyone listening, I work hard, right? I have just found a way to work where it doesn't feel like work. Because work, if I could just chalk up to what feels like work, is when I have to knock something off my task list. Work is a task list that I have to get through. Work is something that we have to get through, and that's why it doesn't feel good. However, if you become more of an expression of a creation, where I'm not just getting through the Freedompreneurs Club. It's not something that I'm just going to check off my list. Okay, created the logo, I'm done. No, I'm creating it like an artist would create it. Like, ooh, how can we do this? And ooh, doesn't that look beautiful? Let's make it like this. And you see, there's no timeline for me. There's just simply a creation process. And as time goes on, it is evolving and growing, and it's becoming more than even what I thought it could be, because that's just the natural process of things. So understanding how things grow, then you can apply that same knowledge to your business and understand how your business is going to grow. In fact, I've got a model that I take everybody through that works with me. It's called the invisible to influence model. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm looking at it. So it's 6 steps in this model. The first step is invisible. So take that as it's an idea in your head. So if you're listening to the podcast right now and you're thinking, I've got a business idea, well, great. You're in the stage of invisible. Then eventually you're going to launch out, right? You're going to start your Facebook page, your website, whatever it is. You're going to launch out. You're going to get a few customers on the go. And now you're in the emergent stage, meaning you're emerging in the marketplace. And in the invisible emergent stage is you're still thinking a lot about cash flow. You're still probably in the mindset of, I need more clients, I need more cash flow, which is a natural process. So most businesses fail within their first year, right? We know this. Why? Because they don't understand the process. They think, I've been doing this a year. What's going on? A year is nothing. A year is like, you're still like a little idea in the womb, you're not even a real thing yet. So basically, you got to move through the process. You go into emergence, and then what we call chaos comes next. And chaos in this context is not a negative thing. It's actually quite positive. It's where you begin to go, holy smokes, I have more business than I have infrastructure, meaning I can't handle the amount of business that I have, which creates a whole new stress. And by the way, when we hear stats about 90% of businesses fail within the first 10 years, this is the stage of the process where they normally fail. Chaos. And the reason they fail, or what I think is even worse, is they never get past this stage, is because it is a different way of thinking to get you to the next steps and processes. So entrepreneurship provides a way to think differently. So chaos, you get through chaos by implementing systems, and systems stands for save yourself time, energy, money. So all of a sudden, through creating income, you get to buy back your time through the investment of infrastructure and systems. Then you move into stability or normal operations. And when you're hitting this stability and normal operations, then you can scale your systems up, leveraged, to abundance and then influence. So your Gary V's, your Tony Robbins, your, whoever you're looking at, right? These people are in the stage of influence because they're 30 years in the game. They've got systems. They've learned the skills. They've learned the mindsets. They've put themselves in the right environments. They've connected with mentors, teachers, and coaches, and now they're they're sort of enjoying the fruit. They're the mango now, right?
Right, they planted the tree and it finally grew, and
Th-
now all
That's
these years later they can use it.
That's right, right. So I like to share that with people so that you understand. First of all, identify where you're at in the process. Am I in invisible? Am I emergence? Am I chaos right now? Am I instability? Stability, a lot of people in stability actually draw a boredom. They become bored with their business because it no longer challenges them. And this could be a dangerous place because I've seen many business owners that are instability put themselves back in chaos because it's more exciting for them. Always remember that a business is not a place to go to fulfill your needs, right? A business is there for you to grow, to provide value, and to provide a life for yourself and for family and maybe causes or whatever it is that you're into. So, stability in that stage, you see a lot of business owners never go beyond that stage simply because they don't recognize that that they're still in the growth process. So for me personally, I I I don't know. I don't strive to be at the top of the ladder. I just continue to follow the process of where I'm at today.
Interesting. With all that, I mean, how do you? I mean, we're starting to run short on time, but
Sure.
with all that, how do you avoid the one foot on the brake kind of thing? Like I mean, you kind of mentioned that trap a little bit there. How some people get to the part where everything's kind of calm and running smoothly, and they have everything in place, and they kind of the tendency as with the entrepreneurship is to like throw that out and start over. So how do you avoid the I don't know, like the getting complacent and stagnant and not reaching your full potential.
Mm. Um, I think you only if you're in the mode of creation, then there's no end to that. So therefore, there's no breaks. Like I know what you mean because I've done that. I've put the brakes on myself. Okay, all right, too much, and that type of thing is coming from more of a deep-seated fear that may be going on. So the fear of success, the fear of what it means, and the fear of change. If you truly move through the process, your life is going to be different, right? Your life is actually going to be different. Your relationships are going to be different. The interactions you have with people are going to be different. Who you're hanging out with is going to be different. What you're engaged in is going to be different. And often we fear that change. So if you notice that, oh, I'm putting the brakes on, then I would go a little underneath that and ask, what are you scared of?
Interesting. And I mean, like, this is a pretty cool system you have here. The going from invisible, emergent, chaos systems, and then stability. And it sounds like, I mean, it sounds like there's somewhat of a minefield where a lot of people either they're if they don't have a plan or they don't have any kind of course correction. There's all these little ways to get stuck on something silly. Something silly can get a lot of us stuck and kind of like waste years and stuff like that. And I really like how you've grown this community, like you said, and you have your blog and your podcast. So could you tell us about what it is that you have set up and your websites and this club and all your cool stuff like that?
Yeah, sure. So, what we've set up, if you go to hangoutwithcoachnick.com, it's a central place where you can connect to everything that I'm involved with there. Also, if you just look up Freedompreneurs Club on Facebook, and you can ask to be part of our private Facebook group where a lot of our interactions happen. It's a great way to connect with other freedompreneurs, connect with myself and other like-minded people and other people doing some pretty cool stuff on the planet. So that's a great way to connect with me. And inside the Freedompreneurs Club, there are different levels. So there's a free membership, and then there's a paid membership. And the free membership, you get access to the Freedompreneurs Club Facebook group. You get access to all the trainings and stuff that are available to get you started. And then the paid membership has access to our 52-week e-learning system. And this is our curriculum. This is the recipe that we've put together in collaboration with other coaches and trainers that help people become a freedompreneur. And we have applied this system to coaches, to trainers, but as well as brick and mortar businesses. So right now, currently, I'm supporting a mechanic shop. I'm supporting a cleaning supply company, a network marketers, speakers, trainers, a preschool, and they're all using the Freedompreneur system, and they're just tailoring the system to their business. So what we really teach is the foundations and the principles and the marketing principles that work. And then we help you through our support system to gear it and tailor it to your specific business.
Awesome. I mean, that's a bunch of cool stuff. And could you state one last time or one more time the URLs just to make sure everyone has it?
Yeah, absolutely. You can go to hangoutwithcoachnick.com and you can check out my Hangout show and different things that I've got going on there. And on Facebook, you can just search Freedompreneurs Club and you can ask to be a member and we'll bring you in, and you could check out all the things we've got going on right now. Our club is growing. We had it's a brand new club as far as the Facebook aspect of it. Like, we're really bringing it out to people in a bigger way now. And just this week alone, we've had 50 new people join. So right now we're exploding. So there's a lot of great momentum, and there's a lot of great opportunity to network and to meet other entrepreneurs that are doing, again, some really cool stuff. And inside the club, I believe we represent 11 different countries right now: Tokyo, Bhutan, Australia, New Zealand, Nigeria, places in the UK, US, and Canada are all represented with active members. So we're a global club, and we truly believe in global community.
Awesome. So it sounds like every entrepreneur, every business owner needs this kind of stuff. It's cool how the way you've explained it today, it all connects the business and the life part. So I don't know if we're supposed to say namaste or whatever because we're talking about spiritual stuff, but I want to thank you so much, Nick, for being on the show and sharing your all your wisdom with us.
Hey, thanks so much, Robert. I so appreciate it.
Hey, it's Robert Plank. Thanks for tuning in. Go right now to robertplank.com/iTunes and click that subscribe button.